Hello YouTube, Dave here again. Today I'm going to be doing a side-by-side unboxing of the Lord of the Rings role-playing starter set, as well as the brand new One Ring RPG starter set. As you can see, these are both titled Overhill and Underhill, Overhill and Underhill, and that's basically because these are fundamentally the same product, just with different rules in mind. But this is still a really cool product to have out nonetheless, because when the One Ring originally released, the Lord of the Rings 5e stuff, I don't think released around the same time. So you did have the original starter set, where the characters were all hobbits of the Shire and spent all of their time sort of doing these sort of like low stakes adventures that are designed to kind of teach you the mechanics of the game as you go. But when the 5th edition Lord of the Rings role playing came out, they didn't release a starter set for it at the time, and instead they just took the Shire Adventures and put them into a hardcover book. So this is the first actual starter set for the 5th edition version, and I think this is going to be a better representation of the One Ring game, taking place outside of the Shire with a mixture of different characters like humans, elves, there's a hobbit character, dwarven character. So you get a bit more of a full flavor of the world versus the original starter set, where you were all hobbits, and the point was to kind of have these smaller, lower stakes type of adventures and little scenarios where you're helping Bilbo, helping Bilbo Baggins out, and getting the chance to play him was kind of a cool moment. But ultimately, there were aspects of the game that just weren't explored in the original starter set that we are going to find here. So, like I said, we got the two different ones side by side. You can also see that the art style the art on the covers of both of these products are different. So the names might vary slightly on some of the books and products that come out, but they are ultimately the same material. Just anything that involves rules elements would be presented differently, right? So we're going to explore that a little bit further here. But first, we'll take a look at the back of the box here, and again, you get an idea of some of these similarities and differences once again, because we do have the all the contents laid out here. We got the character sheets laid out. We have the stand-ups for the enemies here, the stand-ups for the enemies here, the stand-ups for the heroes here and here, and then you've got the One Ring dice, which are just D12s and D6s, and you got the D&D dice, which is the regular set of the polyhedral D4, D6, D8, D12, D10. I don't know if there's a percentile die in there or not. I don't know if it comes with 7 or 6 dice. Transparent, including 2D2. Okay, well it might. Okay, well we'll take a look and see what the actual amount of dice are in the set. But it uses the regular D&D dice. The actual text on the back is pretty much the exact same, except here it's condensed 5e rules, where here it just says condensed rules for action, resolution, combat, councils, and journeys, which is what it says there, but again, it just throws in the 5e version, so we basically have those sort of minor differences there. Now, as far as the retail price goes, I don't have that on the top of my head. I'll have to look that up. I include them more when I do the proper review than just the unboxings. All right, so let's go ahead and get these open. And we'll go through everything piece by piece. So just want to make sure everything. This is actually my second time doing this video, because for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, but when I go to put this into Blender to do the editing, it seems to cut off the top portion of the video a little bit. So there was just stuff that was out of the frame in ways that I wasn't really happy with. So we're going to try to make sure that I'm paying more of a closer attention to what's kind of going on here. But let's get these box lids off. So we'll just set that one there. Actually, we'll keep these sort of off camera, I guess. And then we'll open up this one. The boxes do grip quite well. All right, so again, both of these will include bases for those card stock tokens, enemies, and player characters. So those are the exact same components in both box sets. Here we have a difference. So we do have 2d20s. Okay, so it doesn't have the percentile dice in the 5e one. It just has the 1d10, but it does have the 2d20s, and they are marked for natural 1s and natural 20s. And then here, we've got the one-ring dice, which are just the d12s and the d6s. And the 6s are marked specifically. The d10s, these ones are the proper ones where they're numbered 1 through 10. And then 11 and 12 are like the critical success or critical failure options. Whereas my older starter set were misprinted, so the 1 and 12 had the different things on them. So they were numbered like 2 through 11. So it was just a bit of a minor thing. I was told that I could, get in contact and they'd send replacement dice. But I mean, I knew the starter set was coming out by then, so I just decided to go with that instead. And then we've got our Free League games catalog. So this would be the same, obviously, in both. These are just like listings of the different games that they have. So, for example, we've got the Alien 2nd Edition advertisement there, which I'm waiting for that Kickstarter to start shipping out. The Blade Runner role-playing game, which I cannot say enough positive things about. There's our Lord of the Rings and 5e. I guess I should have had them oriented differently to correspond with the pages. Dragonbane and Coriolis. Vossen, which actually, the Kickstarter fulfillment for that is actually sitting in my community mailbox as I'm recording this video. I just wanted to get this done and out of the way before I record me opening up the Kickstarter box, but this will include another starter set, so happy to see that. Symbaroum. I actually have quite a few, well, I have a few Symbaroum books as well as the 5e adaptation, and I don't have Invincible or the Outgunned RPG, nor do I have Electric State or Tales from the Loop, but I do have Twilight 2000 and the Walking Dead there. I have Forbidden Lands as an add-on for my Dragonbane Kickstarter that I did, so I'm really hoping that that should be coming out next year. And I do have the Mutant Year Zero core book, as well as both of the Zone Wars packs, so that's kind of cool. And I don't own any of the Mork Borg stuff, so we've got those there. All right, and here we have the Getting Started page, kind of like the Read This First page in here, but this does actually give us a pretty good showcase here of some of the different books. Okay, so we've got the again, so the One Ring stuff is on top, and then the 5e versions are on the bottom. So you got the core rulebook there, and then you got the core rulebook there. We do have the Shire Adventures, because again, we didn't have the starter set. Then we've got the Ruins of the Lost Realm for the One Ring, and that was released for 5e as the Ruins of Eredor. Then we've got Tales from the Lone Lands, which was redone as Tales from Eredor. So again, we got the two different Eredor titles there. We got the Moria, Through the Doors of Durin. And down here we got Moria, Shadow of Khazad-dûm. Same books, again, same material, just different titles there. And then for the One Ring, we've got the Realms of the Three Rings. And then we've got the Keepers of the Elven Rings on the bottom. So you get sort of an idea. They released the same like flavor text, and all like the non-rule stuff is going to be the same, but they do have different covers to make them look very different from one another, and they would have the different rule stuff inside. Right, I actually forgot about this, even though I just recorded this yesterday. Another thing that you can use to tell the two apart, aside from just even the cover art, is the way that the covers feel, or the material, or the design of the covers, in terms of like the fact that the One Ring has a very like matte finish to it. So as you can see, it doesn't really reflect the light super thoroughly or anything. But if we take a look at the 5e one, hopefully without hitting the camera. But if we take a look at the 5e one, it is a very glossy cover there, and even the books are the same way. Like the books are the Lord of the Ring, the One Ring ones have like a very it's hard to explain, but it has like kind of a different feel to it. And I wouldn't say that it's matte in so much the sense that it kind of has almost like this grid pattern on like the cover. It's hard to describe, but if I were smart, I would have actually picked one of the books off the shelf and see if I could show the texture off on camera. But it is a really nice feel to it, and the 5e books have that kind of glossy cover design or cover finish that you expect from like the 5e or like from the D&D line of books. So that's one of the differences there. But again, what's included in the book is very similar. So we've got some quick reference stuff on the back here, right? And it looks like that's going to be fairly similar. We've got journey events or misdeeds on both. We have sources of shadow, wound severity on this one, which I guess would be different because I don't have that. But yeah, so they got like there are different like rules stuff here. But if we take a look at the inside, particularly, I just want to see if we can find some artwork here. Okay, so we do have, for example, on page 5 of the 5e book, we've got this piece of artwork here when they're talking about the player heroes. And then in the One Ring, also on page 5, is the beginning of the player hero section for that. And as you can see, it features the same art. Right, so the same artwork appears. Even some of like the text again is going to be very, very similar. It's just the anything that's rules dependent that is going to be different in these books. And one of the things that I do like again about this starter set over the previous starter set is that it actually incorporates the shadow mechanics into the starter rules. The original one where you were hobbits, and I guess the hobbits were supposed to be less susceptible to corruption, which I guess was like the whole point of like the iron will of them, like the most unusual or unlikely of creatures. But it's a big part of the actual role-playing game that just wasn't in the original starter set at all. So they actually did incorporate that here because it's kind of like a corruption mechanic that might make you more visible to certain enemies, or you may draw the attention of certain, fell creatures. It may also just affect the way that people interact with you. So it is kind of cool to see that we have those, those mechanics actually in the rules for the starter set. And then we've got the scenario. So again, I don't want to spoil this one too much by going through and flipping through too many of the pages, but I'll at least show the first few, because again, that should give us an idea. Oh, okay. God, I just don't retain information, do I? I forgot about the I guess because I was looking at the back, and the back of the box has the character sheets being oriented. We'll look at that in a moment. But if we take a look here, so we've got the Overhill and Underhill. We've got the 3 different parts there, along with the page numbers, and I think even down to the page numbers are the exact same. So just a second here. So yeah, we've got the 3 parts again, the same number of pages. It looks like the exact same pages. So part 2 is on page 5, part 3 starts on page 8. And then they both start with the exact same text there, because nothing is particularly different except for like the characters leveling, which is not the same type of mechanic that we have in the One Ring game. But again, if we take a look at the next page there, right, like it's basically the same. It's basically the same information. It's just, like I said, it just comes down to the rules mechanics. So creature stat blocks are going to be like, enemy stats are going to be different. But the overall material inside are both going to be presented the same way. But we also have a difference in the character sheets, because the characters for the One Ring, their character sheets are oriented horizontally, whereas the 5e one is oriented in a more vertical way. So we got the characters, but the flavor text is the same. So you are determined to live in the shadow of your ancestors' deeds, or you're determined not to live in the shadow of your ancestors' deeds. You're determined not to live in the shadows of your ancestors' deeds. So the same information there, but the 5e sheet looks more D&D like. And the One Ring sheet, you know, again, has a very different style to it. So those are the differences there. And then we'll just go through and take a look at the characters. So this character here was the let's see here, heroic culture bardings. So she's a captain for her profession or calling, which is basically like the class. Then the next character, oh, these are a pain to get out. I might try to set these in a way that I can access them, maybe. The next character, and again, I might not try too many of these names because I'm really not good at some of these names, but we've got Regin Stonefist, or Regin Stonefist. And he is a Dwarves of Durin's folk, and he's a champion, so kind of like the fighter type of character. And this is where I immediately regret trying to even pronounce a single name, because now I feel like I should try to do them all. But we've got Fembrithil. Okay. So Fembrithil of the Havens. So an elf of Linden. And then the calling is scholar. So there's not like a wizard class in the Lord of the Rings, but the scholar has abilities that are kind of stripped down versions of like spells kind of thing. So that's how you get like healing and stuff like that in the game. We got our little hobbit character, Mentha Northtooks. At least she's not one of the Sackville Bagginses. And she is a treasure hunter. So Hobbit of the Shire treasure hunter. And then we've got the final character is Dunhir Eaglenose. And he is a ranger of the north. The cultural blessing is Kings of Men. Calling is Warden. So this would be more like your ranger. Alright, see if I can get this. Come on, you. And so here is a Ranger of the North with the Warden. So there you go. So those are the characters. And that is, I believe, the last thing that's actually has any differences. Because the last few things in here, we got like the handout, which is the letter, and that is the same in both, because again it's a letter. There's no mechanics or anything surrounding it. They do both look like they were folded, and like the top half is like noticeably darker than the bottom half. So I guess it's supposed to like simulate the way that the light's hitting it, I guess. Oh, and on the back they both have pretty similar looking trackers. So we got like the hex thing that you could fill out. Right? Just a little bit of difference between the two. So I guess I wasn't entirely correct when I said there was nothing else that was going to be different. But here we got the maps and the tokens are the exact same. So I'm just going to show them in the one box set. So the map is of the Eredor region. So you got like the Shire there. You've got the village of Bree. You've got the Doors of Durin and Moria. There should be, what was it, Weathertop. Oh, there's Rivendell. There's Weathertop. Yeah. Well, so anyway, so you have like all these, like the map is the exact same, and on the other side is kind of like this combat thing. And they're the same in both. I was expecting the 5e one to be different because I didn't think the 5e had like the different combat stances of being like defensive, open, or forward. Where like you get in the One Ring, if you are in the defensive option, for example, you take away a die from your enemies attacking you, but you also lose one yourself. If you're open, then everything is just normal straight rolls based off of your weapon skills and stuff. And then if you're forward, you actually get a bonus on like your attack die. But I think you also grant your opponents one as well, so it's kind of like being more reckless, guarded, or just kind of like a standard combat thing. And then the rearward are for the archer characters, and the only way to do archery is to be in the rearward stance. And there were other criteria in the One Ring game where I think you had to, there had to be like free enemies that were in, like you couldn't shoot enemies that were engaged, so you would have to attack other rearward enemies. So you've got, again, like the foe standing back, you've got the engaged enemies. It's something that I think like once I get used to it, it would be fine. It's not quite the same as like a combat gridded movement type of thing, but it is something, I guess. So you do have that, and again, that's the same in both box sets. And then we've got the tokens, the cardboard tokens. Again, these are going to both be the same in both boxes. So I'm just going to show off the one there. But you got the different monsters and different player characters and some different things there. So that's what we have for the One Ring / the 5e Lord of the Rings role-playing game. And yeah, I'm really stoked for these starter sets. I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with the original starter set for the One Ring, except for the fact that the 5e version didn't have one. Like, it just had the hardcover book in its place. So I'm kind of glad that we've actually got like a proper starter set now for the Lord of the Rings role playing game if you're using like the 5e rules. So I think that's really cool to see. We're just gonna close this back up, and I will say, like, the first one being low stakes and just kind of introducing the base mechanics is fine when you're like launching or relaunching like a new edition of a existing property. Like, that's totally fine. But you were missing aspects of the game. You were missing the shadow mechanic in its entirety. Like, there was no part of it in the original, and that is a big part of the game. And just the ability to play more than just Hobbit characters at the same time. I think this is going to give you a better like introductory feel for the Lord of the Rings and kind of what like the style of RPG is all about. So there you go. Those was the side by side. These will be going up eventually on another starter set Saturday poll, because whatever starter sets are covered are based off of people's voting. The first few weren't, but I wanted to be a more interactive. Series, so you guys vote on which is going to be the one that I cover. But yeah, it's really cool to have these. I'm really happy to have the 5e one. Oh, actually, even the boxes. I didn't even notice this before at all. Even the boxes, like, this feels glossier than the One Ring one. So, like, the glossy versus the matte kind of style goes even all the way to like what the box feels like. So that's kind of cool. Like, when I bridge the gap there, they feel very different from one another. So that's some cool stuff. Anyway, have you picked up the Lord of the Rings role-playing starter set or the One Ring starter set over Hill and Underhill? If so, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section. Did you play the original starter set when it came out, which was converted to the hardcover book for the 5e version? If you did, let me know what your thoughts were of scouring, or not scouring, that's the wrong term for when I'm talking about the Shire, but like going through the Shire and doing the adventures there. What your thoughts were on that one as well. Anyway, thank you all so very much for your time. I truly appreciate it, and we will see you in the next one. Until then, take care.